Guys, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Yes.
Okay, we'll just quickly go ahead whatever steps we have discussed last week. Then we can start the new session because these are something important that you need to know. So these are the things that we have discussed last week, right? Like the basic requirements and rules, jobs, running the first risk analysis. This is not done yet, and additional tasks we have to discuss on that. But jobs, I think it's completed. Synchronization of jobs and synchronization of repository jobs. We have completed that, right, Ganesh?
Sir.
That means repository, object sync, and all we have completed, right? Synchronization of jobs.
Yeah.
Can you do one thing? Can you just quickly check with Jagyan whether he is joining the session or not? Because WhatsApp he was thinking like send me these details, that details and all, but he is not joining the sessions. Can you, if you have his number, can you just quickly call him?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, just I'll wait for one more minute, then we can start. So Malini, for you, have we discussed about this? What is a risk? What is a rule set? What is a permission rule? What is a critical action, critical permission? These things we have discussed already or not? And did we discuss about how to create the rules, how to create the permissions in the system?
No. It was only like requirements where the parameters you thought connectors to the auth scenario.
Okay.
And
Okay. So
rules.
So the prerequisites and the post configurations we have seen. Okay. We have not done the actual rules creation in the system. Okay, that is what we are going to discuss today.
Okay.
Hello, Krishna sir.
Yeah, Ganesh.
Yeah, I think we'll get started because the problem is I told you right. I'm not yet get my mobile, so I won't be able to call him.
Oh.
I'm using the different mobile. There I don't have his number, sir. But I'll.
Okay, 1 minute. I'll check with him. Otherwise.
Sorry about it.
No problem. I will check with him because I want all these
No,
guys to
at
join the
least
session.
his number is 9632032960, right?
1 minute. Tell me the number.
9632032960.
96320329660.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm calling him.
Oh, is it that number? I was asking you in WhatsApp.
No, I don't know.
Okay, fine. Good.
In WhatsApp group, the number is different.
Oh. So we'll call to that number, WhatsApp number then. What is the WhatsApp group? It is SAP class. Jagyan GRC. Okay. Okay, it's going in WhatsApp. Guys, a minute. I'm just calling this guy. It's 8050586415. Okay. He's not picking the phone. It's okay. Then we'll start. So yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, it's agenda
Okay.
requirements and yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So requirements we have completed, and rules we have to see that. I mean, how to create the rules in the system and all. I'll be seeing it today. And generating rules, I told you, once we have created the rules in the system, then we can do this activity. But jobs we have completed, and running the first risk analysis, we will see that today. And additional tasks like creating root arc entry, setting up batch risk analysis, setting up action usage, and transporting rules. Okay, we can transport the rules from one system to other system. It's really not needed to create in each and every system. We can transport that. So how can you transport it in different fields? So in the requirement, the basic things like we have seen this, the parameters, the first parameters to be enabled to perform the access risk analysis in the system. It's in the GRC path, right? GRC access control folder, and something manage configuration setting, something like that, it will be there. So we have to add all the parameters. As I told you, the important parameters are 1023, 1024, 1025, and 1026. So these 5 parameters should be enabled in the system. As well as I told you, there are some other important parameters, 1027 for offline risk analysis and 1031, I think, this for batch risk analysis and all. So those 2 parameters also you should remember. Hope you guys have noted that. Otherwise, you can directly find it in the system. Go there and check it. And also the important thing is auth scenario enablement. So this scenario will be like, why we need to enable this scenario means, if you enable this auth scenario, you can perform that particular risk analysis or authorization topics in that particular backend system. So for that we need to enable this IMG auth scenario. So we have seen that. So now rules. So I'll just quickly check here. Rules is nothing but this is BC set rule, guys. The first thing is that in the system we have to configure the BC configurations. Then only you will get the required data in the system. For example, if you are performing your first risk analysis and remediation, in that case you need to have some default rules in the system. So global rules will be populated in the system only when you have configured the BC sets. So to configure the BC sets, we use the transaction SCPR20. So in that, as I told you, we have 2 default rule sets for access control. So the first one is GRAC RA rule set common, and the other one is GRAC RA SCPR3. So these are the 2 common rule sets which will contain the permissions and actions and rule set rulebook for SCPR3 systems. Okay, if you have BI, if you have a portal or any other system, you need to configure the respective BC sets in the system. Okay, so I have listed down all the available rule sets in here, and also which are important ones. So we have seen all these things, so I don't want to waste my time here. And maintain connectors and config connection settings, we have already seen this, right? So I just wanted you to give an idea like what we have discussed for access risk analysis. So that's why I'm just going through this slide again. So this is the maintain connectors and connection settings. First we have created connectors, then we have maintained the connectors and connection types, where we have decided what kind of system it is, whether it is an SAP system or LDAP system or portal system or any other system. Okay, and also we have created connector groups for SAP. We have created one connector group for BI. We have created another connector group for CRM, SRM, like that. We have created different connector groups, and this connector group will be added to the connection type. So that is what we did in this step. So this is a screenshot how you can perform that activity. That is it. And generating the SOD rules, guys, we have already seen this screen, but we have not generated the rules because we have not created any rules at that point of time. So I said we'll do it later. So normally once you have completed the BC set configuration in the system, you can do generation of rules. It will take time, but it's really not required, because if you are configuring any customized ones, first configure the customized ones, add it to global rule set, then do the generation. Okay, and synchronization of jobs. The synchronization of jobs also we have seen, guys. We have different types of synchronization of jobs: authorization sync, repository sync, transaction user sync, role user sync. So these 4 types we have seen. So I've just I think Malini, you have noted down the tables and the information last time when we were discussing, but I have given the tables information also to these guys. So if possible, in that Google Drive we have that session, I think. So you just go through that once.
Okay, so can you please send me the path again, because my phone was not in a good condition, so I lost all the data old one which we had sent.
Sure,
So
Malini.
do one thing first. Do one thing first. Send me 50,000 rupees. I'll purchase a phone here and I'll send it back to you. Then you can see each and everything in that phone.
No,
And
it's okay. But
Ganesh,
last
you
time
also.
when we
Your
sent
phone
it
is
was
also not working. Send me 50,000. Okay.
Yeah. So for
Okay,
Malini, I
guys.
think if she pings me on her email ID, then I'll add. I'll just route that details so that she can log in later.
fine, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them email IDs which is public. Okay. Don't give personal mail IDs. And
Okay.
yeah, running first risk analysis. We have not seen the screen, guys. I mean, I think Ganesh and Bhaskar, you have seen the screen. Last week we have seen the screen, but Malini, I don't think we have seen the screen. So we'll be doing this step today. Okay, how to run the risk analysis. So additional task, guys, this additional task will be used only after creating the risk rules and everything in the system. So in this additional task, what I'm going to discuss is like creating root org entry, setting up batch risk analysis, setting up action uses, and transporting rules. Transporting rules, I've just told you what we are going to do, but creating root org entry. What is the use of root org entry? When you are creating any mitigation controls, if you find any risk when you are performing the risk analysis, if you find any risk, at the time you need to do the mitigation control, or you need to take an action, like whether you want me to perform the remediation activity or mitigation control activity. You need to decide on that. So if your boss is saying just mitigate the access, in that case this root org entry you need to create. Okay, root org entry is nothing but your company ID, guys. Normally every company will have one org entry, right? So that is your root org entry. For example, if you are working for IBM will be your root org entry. The subdivisions like IBM India, IBM Kanpur, IBM Kolkata, IBM Hyderabad, these are the sub root org entries. But normally first we need to create a root org entry. Okay, this mitigation controls will be valid only for that root org entry. And setting up batch risk analysis. Batch risk analysis is nothing but I will show you how to do this manually, risk analysis. But normally in real time, guys, this activity will not be performed manually. Very rare cases will perform this activity manually. In real time, what we'll do, we'll create one batch job. Okay, we'll take some inputs from the business when they want to run this batch risk, when they want to run the user analysis in the system, what time, what date, and we'll schedule this in the background. So it will run automatically and it will send the report to the respective persons. So they will just analyze it and they'll advise us what action we have to take. So how can we do that risk analysis batchly? I mean, like, how can we schedule this in the background? So we'll see that. And setting up action uses. Action uses is nothing but, guys, this is a very, very superb feature in GRC. So wherein you have in SAP R3 system, normally in real time we'll be having thousands of roles existed in the systems, but we really don't know whether business users are really using all of them or not, right? Because we'll be assigning certain roles to a user. In that roles there will be probably thousands of transactions existed, but normally to perform his activities in the system he'll not be using thousands of transactions, guys. He'll be using 5 to 10 transactions. So that's why you need to find which transaction he is regularly using and which transaction he is not at all using in the system. So this report, setting up action users report, this will give us the complete list of unused transactions in the roles. Then you can take a call like whether we have to keep these transactions in the role or can we remove these transactions from the roles. Okay, so this is a very good feature in GRC 10. So we'll see all these tasks in the additional task thing. Hope you are getting. I'm not going fast, right? Who said yes, Bhaskar?
Yeah.
Okay, be ready for questions. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is another slide. Today morning I woke up at 5 o'clock to prepare the slides. You should appreciate me, okay? Yeah. So agenda. So for this class, this is introduction, rule set maintenance, new risk analysis framework, system specific mitigation, mass mitigation, approved process for functions, additional audit trail tracking. So these all things probably we'll discuss today. Otherwise, some of them. Okay, we'll see according to the time. So see in this slide, guys, whenever you want to work with any tool, you need to know what is the exact use of that tool. So now we are starting working with access risk analysis. You already know what is the use of access risk analysis, but you need to know what are the key benefits, key enhancements. Okay, what are the key enhancements in 10.0 and what are the key benefits in 10.0? They will definitely ask you what kind of enhancement you have seen from 5.3 to 10.1. So this is the slide. So where you get the complete enhancement and key benefits list. Okay, so here I have updated the screenshots as well. This is a screenshot for risk analysis. Okay, and when you want to perform any risk analysis, if you click on that user level analysis button, it will be routed to the screen. Okay, so in this screen you have different options, guys. There are a lot of enhancements when you compare to 5.3. Right, Bhaskar? Yeah, this screen was not like this initially. In 5.3, it was, if you execute that 5.3 screen, you will feel boring, really. Arey, what is this here? You have to enter all the details. But now it is very streamlined, and the user interface is also, it's too attractive. What I can say is, it's very attractive, and you feel like, okay, we can work with this. It's really good. The interface is really good. So that is what look and feel is really good. So in this you have lot of advanced options, guys, where you can, there are a lot of input parameters to perform the risk analysis in 10.0, where in case 5.3 you have only 2 to 3 functionalities available, like you can perform the risk analysis on user level or role level or critical action level or critical permission level. But when it comes to 10.1, you can perform risk analysis at so many levels. Like you can select the system, okay, according to the system you can perform the risk analysis, and you can set the rule set. Okay, in initial days also you can set the select the rule set. I mean, that only one rule set you can select at that time, 5.3. But now there is a feasibility that you can select 2, 3 and so many rule sets at a time when you are performing the risk analysis. This is a very good point you have to remember. So mass rule set, okay, selection is possible in 10.1. okay, and user. So you can perform the users list. Initial days in 5.3 you can give only one username. Okay, if you want to perform risk analysis, you can give only one username there. But here you can enter multiple users at a time. And user group level, so you can perform the risk analysis at user group level. This is a very good feature I say in 10.1. That means if you want to perform risk analysis for security people, you can create a user group and you can add all the security persons in that group and you can do that. Okay, and here if you can see the solution enhancement, guys, new interface allow targeted risk analysis as well as importing, editing and reusing analysis criteria. Importing, editing, you can get that, I mean, easily, but what is reusing analysis criteria? Reusing analysis criteria is nothing but when you are performing a risk analysis, you can save the settings, guys. You can save the settings. Like for example, first time when you are performing the risk analysis, you have selected username, user group name, system name, critical action or critical permission or action or permission, whatever you want, you have selected in that page. So for the next time also you are going to perform it in the same way. In that case, what you can do is you can save all these settings. Okay, and next time when you are using it, you can just select the saved ones. So all the details in that particular page will be filled automatically. Normally in SAP R3 we have this parameter values, right? Like that. Here there is an option. You can save the analysis criteria. Getting my point? These are the simple ones. I mean, you can feel that, array, what is the use of it? We can enter the details. But this really saves your time. When you're in a hurry, you can just select that and click OK. That's it, done. And next one, new ability to customize and personalize access risk results. Okay, you can customize and personalize the access risk result. Once you have performed the access risk analysis, you will be getting one result sheet. Okay, once you perform the access risk analysis, you will get one result sheet. In that sheet, you can customize it. In initial 5.3 days, it's really not possible to customize. Like you are seeing one screen. In that screen, you don't want some columns to be present. You don't want some rows to be present. So in that case, what you can do is you can just hide them in that screen, and whatever fields you want to activate, you can activate it. Whatever fields you want to deactivate, you can deactivate it in the result screen. So once after you have modified the screen according to your requirements, you can download the data in PDF format, Excel format, and Crystal report format. These are the 3 formats that you can download now. But initial dates, it's only Notepad in 5.3. You can download the data only in Notepads. Then you have to convert it to Excel, which is not an easy task, guys. You have to spend some time there because the data will not be in the correct shape. So you have to adjust so many things in the Excel again. But now you can download the data in Excel, you can download the data in PDF, you can download the data in Crystal reports. So these are some enhancements in 10.1, and enable business roles and UA composite role risk analysis. See, in 5.3, when you are performing the risk analysis, hope you guys know about central user administration. So normally central user administration, with the help of central user administration, you can maintain the users centrally from one system. Okay, so and when you want to connect the GRC to a central system initially in 5.3, you can connect it, but it's really not possible to perform the risk analysis for central roles. But now it is possible. You can do risk analysis centrally. If you perform risk analysis for centrally, it will happen for all the systems at a time. So that is the advantage. And new ability to mitigate by system and by access rule ID. See, this is where I'm separating that. New ability to mitigate by system and by access rule ID. So initial days in 5.3, if you want to apply the mitigation control, okay, either you can apply mitigation control for user or role. Okay, user or role. But now, Bhaskar, please correct me if I'm wrong in this case, okay, because I worked in 5.3 but not in depth. I know this point. Actually, in 5.3 we were having only 2 options, by role and by system. That's it, right? Sorry, by role and by user.
Yeah, user level and role level.
Yes. So, but now in 10.1, you have an ability to do it for system level as well as rule ID level. Rule ID and all, you will get to know, guys, what is rule ID and all, but don't worry. But you have to remember this option, okay? When you want to apply mitigation control, okay, you can apply mitigation control only for one system. But in initial days, guys, in 5.3, if you apply mitigation control for one user, that will be applicable for all the systems. Okay, you cannot really control it for one system. But now you can do it. Okay, and also, I mean, this can help. Like, see, for example, there is one transaction PFCC which is giving violations to so many users. Okay, which is giving violations to so many users. So what you are thinking, like, if I want to create a mitigation control for all these users, it will take a hell lot of time. So in that case, guys, what you can do is you can mitigate that risk at system level. You just need to create a PFCC mitigation control for system level. That's it. So none of the users who is having PFCC in that system, they will not be populated in the risk review. Getting my point? Malini or Ganesh? Getting it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ganesh, I'm not going fast, right?
No,
Or I'm going fast?
No, I'm able to follow.
Okay. Thank you. So, and the next one is new support for mass mitigation. Okay, including assignment and maintenance with bulk updates. That means initial days, if you want to maintain the mass users, you have to maintain it one by one. But now it's very easy. What you can do is you have one program. If you run that, you can update all mitigation controls at a time. Not all, whatever you want to update, you can update it. That means mass update. For example, in systems, you have applied mitigation control for 10 users. Okay, in these 10 users, 5 users are left the organization. So you have to change the mitigation control for those 5 users because they left the organization. So mitigation control should not be applied for these users. Those users should be disabled in the system. So in that case, you have to do this activity. Initial days, what you have to do it for each and every user separately. But now you just create an Excel sheet and update all the users and write a comment like remove mitigation control since the users has left the organization. Just upload it in the GRC system. That's it. That activity is completed. For example, there is one approver for around 15 mitigation controls. That approver left the organization. In that case, you need to change the approver, right? Because if approver left the organization, mitigation control will be failed because once you run the mitigation control report, system will generate the logs and it will be sent to your approvers. So if the approver is not there in the organization, the logs will not be sent to anyone. It's a fail case. So in that case, you have to check every week that all the approvers are in the organization or they left the organization. So if you find one approver is left, you need to remove his name from all the mitigation controls that he is as a approver. In that case, you can do this activity. I mean, you can use this mass updation facility in GRC 10.1. This really helps, guys. And new function maintenance workflow. Okay, so function maintenance. Initially, guys, function is nothing but a combination of action and permission. Okay, just for your idea, function is nothing but a combination of action and permission. Purchase order creation, it is a function. Okay, it is a function in the system. So to create purchase order request, okay, we need to have access to ME51 transaction with create access. So create is a permission, ME51 is an action, and purchase order creation is a function. So function is nothing but combination of action and permission. So this is a small example. So purchase order creation, it is a function. Sales order creation, it is a function. Okay, and movement type creation, this is a function. Vendor master update, this is a function. Role creation, this is a function. User creation, this is a function. So in system, in SAP system, we'll be having different functions. So every function is a combination of action and permission. Okay, so this initial days when you are creating any function in GRC system, initial days, I'm using this term so many times, okay, and I will use 5.3. In 5.3, when you are creating any function, okay, there is no workflow like when you update or create any function, there will be one mail triggered and it will send to some approvers like that. It was not there. That functionality was not there. You can decide on your own and you can create the functions and you can update it. Okay, but nowadays it's not possible, guys. For everything there is a track. If you are creating a function, one workflow is there in the backend that will trigger a mail to the function approver. He should approve it, then only that function is valid in the system. Otherwise it's not valid. I mean, you cannot really take a decision and you can create the functions, okay? It's not possible. No, for everything you should have a proper workflow is enabled in the system, okay? So you have to follow proper steps. Like first, you need to decide and then you need to create it. Once you create it, a mail will be triggered to the approver. Once he approved it, then only the function will be available in the system. So these are some enhancement. There's some enhancement, guys. There are so many enhancements we'll be seeing now. And key benefits. When I come to key benefits, this is more effective, flexible access risk analysis options and improved ability to analyze results. So this thing you can understand it. And faster developments and easier data maintenance over time. This is also you can understand it. And reduce broad application of controls. So reduce broad application of controls. Broad application of controls in the sense, see, for example, you have an SAP application, right? SAP application is not a smaller one, guys. It's very big application. So in that you have a lot of customizations available in the system. So when you are working with this big applications, the controls that you are applying in the system should be efficient. Then only there will not be any frauds happen. Otherwise, definitely someone, I mean, like me, intelligence, okay, like me in the sense intelligence, you should understand that, okay. So intelligence, they will do frauds with the system. So you should have very good or proper controls in the system which can restrict a user to perform unauthorized activities in the system. So if you create these kind of controls more and more in the system, that is also a risk, because we cannot really manage. If you have 100 controls, it's really tough to manage all the controls. So there should be very strict rules. As I can say, there should be rules, but very minimum level, at very minimum level, but that should work effectively. So with the help of GRC, you can set that. And that's why we'll be using only one rule book, guys, in real time. That is global rule book. We can update all the rules to rule book. Then you just need to select that rule book when you are performing the user risk analysis. If you create multiple rule books in the system, you'll be confused with which rule book I have to check the user analysis. So that's why GRC is helping you to manage everything at a simple level. Like one rule book you can create and you can manage the complete system. And ability to repurpose workflows, including routing and escalation logic by utilizing the standardized workflow engine. So we have, these workflows are really a superb feature in GRC 10.1. You can customize your workflows, you can create your own workflows. Okay, this will really help us, guys. Like when you want to automate any process, this workflows will really help us. Okay, so that's what the solution enhancements and key benefits. Okay, if in case you want more data in this, we have already discussed. I have told you 10 major enhancements in 10.1. You can go there and you can check. Rules at maintenance. Overview, maintaining rules, user interface enhancements. So in rules at maintenance, so you know what is a rule set? Okay. Okay, this is the rule set, guys. Rule set is nothing but it is a combination of different functions. Okay, different rule set, different rules. What I can say is different rules, risk rules. We normally, before going to this slide, I would suggest you to note down something. We'll discuss about some key terminologies in access risk analysis. Then we'll come here. Okay, so key terms in access risk analysis, we'll normally use business process. So what is a business process? We have already discussed this. Business process is nothing but sales and distribution module or FICO module or anything in SAP business. If it is a separate process in SAP, that we call it as SAP business process. Okay, normally in GRC system, guys, if you want to find all the business process that are existed, we have a table that is GRAC BPROC. GRAC BPROC. With the help of this table, you can find all the business process existed in the system. Okay, note down this table is something important. And business risk. So in business process, if you find any risk, like for example, when you are creating purchase order, if you see any risk there, okay, so that is the business risk for that particular business process for purchase to pay. For purchase to pay module, for purchase to pay business process area, creating purchase order, you have observed some risk in there. So that is a business risk available in that particular business process. Okay, and what is a business function? Business function, as I told you, function is nothing but it is a combination of action and permission. Who has joined the call?
Hi, Krishna.
Hey, hi, Jagyan.
Yeah, Jagyan here.
Yo, hi. How are you?
I got late.
Okay,
so,
it's fine. Good. Okay, it's fine.
So
please start.
2 o'clock?
Yes. Started at 2:10.
Okay.
Okay. Already half of the class is done, but you can continue.
Okay. So
okay.
Let me tell me what else you have just started.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
I just want the overview, like what you have covered so far in this class.
In this class, we were just discussing about the access risk analysis, key enhancements, and benefits. As of now, we have discussed that. That is completed, and we are going to discuss about rule sets, rules of creation, functions, actions in the system. Okay, and we'll be performing the first risk analysis, and after that, if we have time today, then we'll be continuing about the mitigation controls, creation, and all those things we'll see. Otherwise, we can continue tomorrow. So as of now, that is what happened.
Okay.
I have just, because the post configurations and pre-configurations of access control is already completed. So today we have discussed about the key enhancements of access risk analysis and what we can do with access risk analysis and what we can't. And now we have started this maintaining rule sets in the system.
Also,
Okay.
so post implementation also I couldn't attend the classes. Sorry, after post implementation, the next class, last two classes. So
Yeah.
someone please share the videos so that I will go through it. I can no idea how well it will. Ganesh or somebody who.
Hey, Jigan, they are available on the Google Drive. Already I've shared, uploaded onto the Google Drive, which I've shared with you, right?
The last two classes I need to
Yes.
say. Have you done?
So once the class is done, immediately I've
Okay,
uploaded them,
and then
both
I
of
will.
them. Yeah.
Okay, guys, you can discuss this offline. Okay, you can contact each other and you can do that. Okay. So yeah, the next one is business function, guys. So what is a business function? Business function is nothing but when you are performing any activity for that particular business process area, you need to have one function. You need to have access to your function. Like function is a combination of action and permission. Malini, why you have joined twice on the call? Malini web, Malini offline.
Yeah, I had some issue with the network, so
Okay,
it's
okay.
showing twice.
Now you can hear us, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you want to perform any activity in the system, guys, you need to have access to a certain business function. Then only you will be able to perform that. Like for example, purchase order creation. Purchase order creation is nothing but it is a function. Okay. To perform that particular business function, you need to have a respective function access in the backend. Otherwise, you'll not be able to perform it. So that is called business function. And action and permission. What is an action and what is a permission in GRC? Action is nothing but, guys, transaction in SAP. In SAP, normally we call it as transaction, right? So to perform certain thing in SAP system, that means we are performing some action in SAP system. You need to have access to transaction. Like the same, if you want to perform something in GRC system, okay, again you need to, not in GRC system, if you want to perform something in any SAP system, you need to have access to your transaction. That transaction we normally call it as action in GRC. Okay, so permission is nothing but for the particular action, what kind of permissions you have in the backend. For example, you are performing an action user creation. User creation is an action. When you are performing that, you need to have create access in the backend. So that create access we normally call it as permission. So authorization objects, guys, permissions are nothing but authorization objects, fields and values. These all are permissions. But transactions, the actual transactions, we call it as actions. And function we have already discussed. Function is nothing but combination of action and permission. Hope you guys are noting down these points. And the next one is risk rule. Risk rule is nothing but it is a combination of different actions and permissions. Different actions and permissions are nothing but different functions. Risk rule is nothing but possible combination of different functions. Possible combination of different functions. Where you can see any risk. If you find some risk in particular area, first you need to identify. For example, when you are creating a user, you have seen some risk. So you need to identify like where we are getting this risk, creating a user. So creating a user is nothing but we are using SU01. So that is an action. So SU01, when creating, we are identifying the risk. So creating is a permission. So SU01 with some authorization objects with some field values, you have seen one risk. Okay. So this is a risk, but why it is a risk? Because creating a user, it's not a risk, but a user who is having access to PFCZ and SU01 both, then you have seen a risk there. That is a risk. That means this particular user is having both the access in the system. Like he can create the roles in the system as well as he can create the users in the system. So this should not be there. So you need to create two functions here. Function is first function is creating role. Second function is creating user. If these two functions are assigned to one user, then there is a risk rule. There is a risk. It should not be assigned to a single user. So if you feel this should not be assigned to a single user, then do one thing, then create a risk rule in the system, update it in GRC. Risk rule. So these two transaction access should not be present to any user. So combination of two possible functions is a risk rule. Getting it? And rule set.
Yes.
Okay, rule set. Rule set is nothing but, guys, this is the combination of all risk rules. See, everything is a combination of some other thing. Like risk rule is a combination of different possible functions, and rule set is a combination of different risk rules. Okay, so if you combine all this, for example, rule set, we can create rule set for every business process area, guys. For example, in SD, for sales and distribution, if you identify different risk rules, okay, what you can do, you can club all these risk rules to a certain rule set, and that rule set will be added to rule book again. That's a separate matter. But first, you can add that particular module risk rules into a place. That particular place we call it as rule set. And transaction rules. Okay, transaction rules. Transaction rules are nothing but, in every system, guys, in every SAP system, we must have already identified some of the critical transactions. Like MIGO, it's a critical transaction. That access can be present to the users, but up to certain level. After that, you should not provide, because with MIGO you can do a lot of things. So MIGO is a critical transaction, like and also SU01, which is a critical transaction in the system, because they should be present only to security guys. They should not be assigned to any other user. So if you assign SU01 to any other users, they can do whatever they want in the system. So that should not be present. Like PFCC, which is a very critical one. Okay, and SM30, S11, these transactions are really critical transactions in SAP system. So we must have identified some of the critical transactions already in the system. So if you want to create all these, if you want to create a rule like critical transaction access should not be present to any user in the system. Critical transaction access should not be present to any user in the system. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to add all these transactions to one place. Okay, and like one place in the sense you can add all these transactions to rule set, and that rule set will be added to global rule book. And then when you're performing any risk analysis, you can select like permission, only for permission rules, or only for action rules, or only for critical action rules, or only for critical permissions. Getting my point, guys, or is it confusing, this permission rules? If you're not getting it, you have to ask me. Otherwise, I'll move ahead. Okay, critical action. Critical action and critical permission, no need to explain it. Action you already know, permission you already know what is an action and what is a permission. So you can really relate that critical action and critical permission. If you feel one transaction is very critical, then you can make it as critical action. If you feel one authorization object like s_develop, s_develop is a very critical object in the system. s_user_grp, which is very critical. s_tabu_dis, which is very critical. So if these objects will come under critical permissions. Yes. So these are the some small definitions. Before working with access risk analysis, you should know these things. So now configuration steps of access risk analysis. Okay, so first one, you have to create some users in the system. Note down some. I'll tell you 5 steps. So please note down. So the first step is risk owner. Create users in SU01. Okay, you have to create these users in SU01 before performing any risk analysis. You need to complete these steps. Okay, I'll tell you some steps. So you have to note down. First step is create users in SU01. So step 2, assign roles to the respective users. Step 3, create business process and sub-processes. Step 4, create organization. Step 5, add owners to organization. Step 6, run synchronization of jobs. Step 7, okay, create the following in NWBC. The first one is functions, access risk, rule set. Functions, access risk, and rule set. As you know, to create functions, you need to have actions and permissions. So that also we will create it. So the first step we have written like create users in SU01, right? So what kind of users we need to have? Okay, if you want to run a successful risk analysis in the system, you need to have below users, guys. The first one, first user, the side heading first step, create users in SU01, we'll do it. So the first one, risk owner, and second user, mitigation controller, risk owner, mitigation controller, mitigation owner, third one, mitigation owner, fourth one, mitigation approver, and fifth one, access control owner in NWBC. So these things, these users we have to create. Okay. In the second step, I have given like assign required roles to the test users. Test users in the sense, see, when you want to perform a successful risk analysis, you should have these IDs. Okay. For these IDs, there are separate roles created in GRC system, which is already there. If those roles are not there, you have to set up it. But by default, if you install the GRC package in your system, you will get the default roles. Okay. So you can just copy the roles and you can create new ones, and those roles to be assigned to these users. You have to assign those roles to the users. So for example, risk owner. Okay, this is a owner guy, risk owner. So for risk owner, you should assign risk owner role. Mitigation controller role is there, mitigation owner role is there, mitigation approver role is there. So you have to find those roles. When you are creating these users, you have to assign them. So who is going to share the screen today? No response again.
Can I?
Yes, sir. Do it. I'll make you as a presenter. Why everyone is so silent today? Oh no, yaar. Okay. Yes, we can see your screen now. Okay. So now what we have to do, we have to create the users in the system as a first step. So how many users we have to create? We have to create 5 users. So decide the naming convention first for these users and create them. For risk owner, suggest one name, Oscar, Jackie and Malini.
can give it as test user itself.
Test user.
Hmm.
But actually, when you see that username, it should be like, okay, this user is created for this purpose. You should identify that like that. It should be there. If you keep test user, we really don't know what is this user. We have to again go into roles and we have to check that. So that's why we'll keep it as GRC RO for risk owner and GRC MC for mitigation controller, GRC MO for mitigation owner, and GRC MA for mitigation approver, and GRC ACO for access control owner. Will that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Ganesh, create those users in. Yeah, first user GRC RO. Yeah, create. Yeah. So in the description mention GRC risk owner. I mean last name. Yeah. Okay, fine. And now go to roles. So as I told you, you need to assign the fax number. Why it is asking fax number? Just give something at fax number.
You have to give once it is asked. It will be asking sometimes.
Yeah. Remove that fax number. 0000 is there, right? Just remove something.
You can remove that.
Someone has make it as default thing, I think.
Try saving it now. If you don't give is also fine.
Okay.
That's good.
It's a dialog user, right?
Okay.
We make
Yes. No, keep it as dialog user only. Remember one thing in GRC, if you're creating any user, it should be a dialog user, guys. Otherwise, you'll not be able to log into NWBC.
go to
Roles. Otherwise, you can do these steps later on. I'll just show you. We'll create this user. The remaining users will create it later on. I mean, otherwise, when we are discussing about the other things, Malini can create it. Okay, she can log in and she can create the users. And we can go ahead and go to roles. I'll just show you what kind of roles to be assigned to these users, and then we'll move ahead. Yeah, first assign the basic roles. Search. Yeah, star GREAC star. Okay. So again, tell me what are the basic roles we have to assign?
Function base from SAP GRSC, function base, SAP GRSC, function all, and
all also we have to give.
NWBC. NWBC one we are supposed to give function base also. And there is another one I don't know.
Select SAP GRAC base, first one. GRAC base, okay. And then no requester, remove requester. And then GRAC NWBC. Okay, so now we are creating a risk owner, right? So if you can see, there is a role SAP GRAC risk owner. Okay, so with these two roles, you have to give this role to this guy because he is a risk owner. And also you can see other roles there. GRAC role mitigation admin. Come down. See, this mitigation admin, mitigation designer roles are there, right? This should not be assigned to any user. This should be assigned only to us. Like we are the mitigation admins. We'll be creating the mitigation IDs. So we need to have that roles. Okay. There are other roles called GRC mitigation role owner, GRC mitigation. What is that? The other role? Mitigation user. Huh? Yeah, mitigation user. Okay, these roles will be given to role owners and users. Normally there will be a mitigation user, mitigation role owner. So if you are creating a mitigation type of role, for example, you are creating a mitigation ID for role. So in that case, we'll be needing these two roles, but as of now, it's not required since we are creating the user type. So there are other roles called SAP GRAC Super User Mitigation Admin, SAP GRAC Super User Mitigation Controller, SAP GRAC Super User Mitigation Owner, Mitigation Firefighter, okay, and SAP GRAC all. So there you can see controller role and owner role, mitigation controller role and mitigation owner role. Right? So when you are creating the mitigation controller and mitigation owner and mitigation approver, you need to assign the respective roles to them, including the two base roles. Getting it, Malini? Since you'll be creating the users, assign the respective roles. Don't assign all the roles to all the users. You have to, if you are creating mitigation owner, select the mitigation owner role as well as those two base roles.
For mitigation approver, where is the role here? It's admin role.
Approver will be there. Check it. It's owner, firefighter, and
a mitigation super user control role is for mitigation controller owner is there. Where is for the approver?
admin role is there. Okay, no, approver should be there. Let me check that. Here you can see that.
Control approver. Okay.
Okay, so this role has to be assigned to them. Okay, so you create these users. Now we are just creating one user, right? Oh, sorry, I've closed it. I don't know. Ganesh, sorry. Assign those roles again and just save it. So we have completed two steps, the two initial steps. The first one is creating users in SU01, then assigning the respective roles to them. Okay, so these users we have to use when we are working with this when we are working in NWBC. He's a risk owner. Yes. Where is that function role? It's GRC. So again select that star GRC star. That's it.
Sure.
Save it.
No. I think I have to do one more time. One GRAC has gone.
Okay. Yeah, it gone. You selected there. Okay.
GRAC page has gone. Sorry.
It's fine. Yes, save this. Okay, so these are simple steps, guys. I don't need to explain them, but I'm just telling you these are uses will be required when you are performing the access risk analysis. So now, for the second thing, what we are going to do is we'll be creating the actions, permissions, and risk rules at first. Then we can see the other things. So now come back and go to NWBC. Yeah, I'll take the control, okay?
Yeah.
From here. So first we'll see some important inputs in NWBC. So since this is the first time we came here to NWBC, you guys already know what is the exact use of NWBC. So normally, guys, some configuration settings, some of the configurations, and like till this point we have done some configurations, but there are a lot of configurations we have to do. These configurations we have performed in the backend, like by using SPRO. But once you have configured everything in the backend, okay, then the remaining configuration steps are action creation, function creation, and all these things will be performed in the front end. Okay, you cannot create actions and permissions in the backend. You don't have any option to create actions and permissions or rule set, rule books. Those things you cannot create it in the backend. Or also mitigation controls, firefighters, everything you have to create in the front end. Only by using backend you can do the normal configurations, okay, which will enable you to work with NWBC. But once you have completed them, you need to do a lot of configurations in the front end. Okay, as I just told you, the configurations will be like risk creations, rulebooks creations, mitigation control creations, firefighter creations, analysis report creations, okay, owner creations, org units creations, everything you have to do in the front end. So in front end, this is the default view of NWBC, default view, okay? You can customize this, NWBC view also you can customize that, but it's not in our course. That's, I mean, actually, it will not take much time. If we have time, I can tell you at the last. You can customize the complete design of the workflow, complete design of the NWBC. So here you can see only 4 work items. The first one is My Home, Setup, Access Management, Reports, and Analytics. So these are the default 4 work sets given by SAP. But normally in real time you can see the different ones. You may be, okay, maybe sometimes you can see the different ones. Don't be surprised, because you can customize it, the NWBC look and feel. That can be done. So that's what normally in clients would request you to do. Like they'll not be, if it is set up, they'll not understand what is set up. So it should be very easy for them to understand. By seeing it, they should tell that, okay, this tab is for this tab is for this, and this tab is for that. So by saying setup, access management, and reports and analytics, as a GRC consultant, it's easy for you, but for users, business users, it will be difficult. So we should change the user screen, okay? So here the first one is My Home. So in My Home we have some different tabs here. So the first one is Work Inbox. So in this Work Inbox, guys, if you are an approver, okay, for example, if you are a mitigation approver, so whenever any user, any admin, GRC admin created any mitigation control, so you will get a approval mail, okay, you should approve that, then only that will be routed to other persons. So if you are an approver, whatever things you are approving in the system, for all of them through a workflow, you will get some mails. So those mails you can see in your Work Inbox. Work Inbox is nothing but, if you click here, So here, whatever requests are routed to you, you can see, you can find all of them in your work inbox. And then from here, you can take the necessary action, whether you want to approve it or reject it, everything, you can do it from here. This is your inbox area. So here you will get all the requests. Like for example, if there is one request, user creation request, which is pending for your approval. So you can see that here, you just need to click there. Once you click there, you will see two buttons, approve or reject, like this. I mean, here you have print version and export, right? Like the same way you will have approve or reject. Okay, once you open the request, you just need to select approve or reject. You need to validate the request first, then you can take the necessary action. So this is your work inbox. Here you can see worker times, access management, process control, and risk management. So if you want to find all your access risk analysis things, then you can find it in the access management thing. So like this it will be. So here you can see, no, I'll just check here all zero. Yeah, here you can see the subject and what is the status, pending for approval or approved or rejected, like that it will be there, created or in process, status will be there, and created on when they have created, and due date by when you have to approve that, and created by who has created it, and what is its title. So this information you can get it from here. Okay, so if you want to download all these data, whichever request you have approved, if you want to download that, you can download it, guys. Okay, from here you can select all and you can download it through Excel. Select all and you can download it through Excel. Why I'm saying this? This is what normally approvers don't know. They will come back to you and they'll say, I want to generate my report. How can I do that? It's very easy, guys. They just need to navigate the page, then they will get all the information, but they'll not do it. They'll directly come back to you and they will ask, Array, I want to download all my incidents or all my requests to an Excel sheet. How can I do that? It's very easy, but they'll not really go through all the pages. So here there is a button personalize. Okay, if this personalized button you can see in all the GRC screens. With the help of this, as I told you, if you want to hide some columns or if you want to keep some columns, you can do that by using personalize button. You can personalize the screen. It was not possible in 5.3, but now it is possible in 10.1. For every screen they have given this personalized option. So if you don't want to see created by, you can unhide, you can hide it. Or if you don't want to see created on, you can hide this. Like the same way when you perform the risk analysis, you will get the risk result screen in the same way. Okay, there you can really personalize that screen. Whatever you want to download, you can download it. So if you select all and download, all these input values will come there. But if you don't want to see title and status, then you can hide them and then download it. So you will get only subject, created on, due date, and created by. Okay, this is one point I wanted to tell you, but this is already updated in the slides. So this is your work inbox, guys. And the next one is my delegations. My delegations are nothing but if you are an approver. For example, my delegations are nothing but reference user concept. So if you are an approver, you are going on leave, you want to delegate your permissions to someone else, you can do it from here. Okay, and application help. If you want to know some information about your access control and all, you can find it from here, application help. And my profile. So here, every user can see this option, guys. Okay, every user may not be able to see work items, my delegations, and application help, but this my profile will be enabled for every user. So here you can see what is your name and everything, and what are the details updated in your backend. You can get it from here. Okay, and request status. If you request anything, if you for example you have created some user access requests, so you want to know the status of the request, so you can find it from here. And request reset password. So this is a very good option, guys. If you want to reset your password, not only GRC, if you want to reset your password in any other system, you can do it from here. And name change. For example, your first name and last name is updated incorrectly in the system. So if you want to change it, you can do it from here. So register security questions. Like this is, I don't need to explain it, but see when you are, if you configure register security questions, okay, some other persons will not be able to edit your account because it will ask for a security question. They should answer that, then only they'll be able to edit it. Then the next one is access request. So if you want to do an access request creation, you can do it from there. and again my profile request status. Those are repeated. That's it. So these are the basic things, guys, in your My Home tab. So here, what kind of questions you will get? Okay, when you are going for interviews, the first question they'll ask you, how can you reset your password? Where is the option present? They will ask you, guys, where is the option present? Also, they'll ask you. So you need to tell them that it's present in My Home, My Profile tab. And they will ask you, what is the use of your work inbox? Okay, whether can you generate the data in Excel or not? And if I want to customize my screen, whether I can do it or not? And also, what is approved delegation? Okay, these questions from the screen you will get. And the next one, I'm going to the next work set, that is setup. Okay, in setup, guys, you have very important things, like from setup only we can manage our access risk analysis, access request management things. Okay, access risk analysis and super user privilege management. These two things we can manage from setup. So the first one is access rule maintenance. Okay, so for example, if you want to create a rule, okay, if you want to create any rule or anything, any rule, function, permissions, actions and all, you have to create it from here. What happened? Who all are there in the call?
Ganesh.
Ganesh, you there? Okay.
Yeah.
Bhaskar, you there?
Yeah.
Again, you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Malini?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. I'm just getting some beep, so I'm just confusing here what's happening today. Okay. So you're following me, right?
Yes.
I'll take it as is. So access risk maintenance, access rule maintenance. So from here, guys, you can create all the risk rules and everything from access rule maintenance. You have to remember this option because which is very important. But seriously, I'm telling you guys, in real time, I don't know, Jagyan is working in GRC and Bhaskar is also. Have you ever created any function or rule? Have you updated any rule books?
Yes.
No, for 10.0.
No, 10.0.
Yeah, because the issues like when you are developing GRC for the first time, okay, whatever rules or whatever rule sets, whatever functions, whatever actions you have created, that will be, you can use it. But there will not be, because the global rule set that has given by GRC is enough actually. What we are going to do with the rule set and all, like, we need to create rule sets only for the customizing transactions. For the standard transactions, they have already given everything. SAP has given everything, guys. Okay, you don't need to develop anything for the standard transactions. But for the only customized transactions and the table access, because table access will be different from client to client. So for table access and the customizing transactions only, we need to create rules. Otherwise, everything is already set up. You can use it. Okay, if you want to create a rule book or rule set, the first thing what you have to do is you need to create a risk owner. Okay, the first step, remember, you need to create a risk owner, and the second step, you need to create the business process and sub processes in the system. Okay, which we have already done. We have already created the risk owner and we have already created the business processes. Then you can create the functions. Once you have created the functions, then add them to the risk rules. Once you have added them to the risk rules, then map these risk rules to the rule set. Then rule set will be added to rule book. This is the flow. First, actions and permissions, then function, then risk rule, then rule set, then rule book. Okay. So now we'll see how can we create a function in the system. Give me some scenario so that I will just explain you how to create the functions and all. Okay, you will not give. I will take a scenario. Like I will take a scenario here. For example, I just take the security scenario, which is very easy for you guys to understand. So, for example, there is a user in your organization. There are two users in your organization. One is for security consultant, another one is authorization consultant. I mean user administrator and authorization administrator. So this user administrator will have SU01 access in the system, and the authorization administrator will have PFCC access in your system, in the system. So when you are trying to implement GRC in your organization, you need to define particular, rules. Like a security consultant for security area, user administrator should not have authorization administrator access, and authorization administrator should not have user administrator access. This is the rule you are going to decide. You are going to define in the system. So to define this particular rule in your system, the first thing you have to know which actions and which permissions these two consultants are using. Okay, so for example, user administrator will use SU01 with some authorization objects and values, and this other guy, authorization administrator, he will use PSUC with some authorizations and values. So this authorization objects and transactions will be added to one function, and the other authorization objects and a transaction will be added to different function. So we have now two functions. So these two functions should not be assigned to a single user. That is what the rule is, right? So what we will do, we will add these two functions to one risk rule set. So that rule set is created for security business process. In security business process, we have created two functions. The first function is for user administration, and the second function is for role administration. So whenever you are performing any risk analysis, so that risk analysis will check this, whether in your organization any user is having access to these two transactions. If any user is having access to these two transactions, as we have already defined the risk level and color, according to that, it will come here. Like this particular user is having access to these two transactions, which should not be there according to so and so rule book. So please take a necessary action. Okay, that is what will come up. Getting it? Okay, so we'll create the function first. So to create the function, guys, you just need to click on function button. Click on function button, functions. What is this? Always hello. Okay. Now I'll select functions. You should ask these guys to configure a new Internet Explorer in the system. So these are the function IDs which are already created in the system. Okay, you can see that there are some function IDs. If I just click on functions, so when I click on functions, you can see that there are some function IDs which are already created in the system. So if you can see the function IDs, guys, every function ID is having 4 digits. Okay, the function IDs which are starting with like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X. Sorry, yeah, W, X. Till this point, these are the standard function IDs which are created by SAP. Okay, you should not use these letters to create your customized device in the system. Normally, in roles also, when you are developing any roles, you should create with Y or Z, right? You should not create it starting with A to X. That's the standard practice we should follow. But normally, I have seen some clients, they are creating roles with their own names. But normally, what is the standard practice? We should not create roles starting with A to X, or we should not create anything. And if that is a customized one, if that is client defined or that is business defined, then you should create with either Y or Z. Like the same, if you want to create a new function in the system also, you need to create it either Y or Z. Okay, these are the standard words. See, the first AAA1 or AAA2 or ADD1 or AD02, these are not the standard ones, guys. Okay, standard ones will not be in that form. Standard ones always like AO01, AO02, AO03, AO04, like that, because AO01 is nothing but it's for APO, supply and demand planning. APO, maintain module. APO models and version management, APO delete version. So these are the business functions, guys. These are not business processes. Okay, these are functions. So functions. APO supply and demand planning, that is a function. Okay, in that you will be having some transactions. We'll see that. Okay, what are the things in this? Where is that display? So we'll see the existing one. Then you will get to know what kind of values are present in this function. Then you will be knowing what kind of values we have to add when we want to create a function, new function. Okay, so this is the function screen. So you can see in function screen, so the first one is details and change history. This is the new one that is added. Okay, it was not there in the 5.3 versions. You can see only details button. In 10.0 also I think it's not there. 10.1. Maybe 10.0 it will be there, but 5.3 it is not there. Change history is added in 10 version only. So function ID, this is with 4 characters. The starting 2 are alphabetical and the next 2 are numerical. So this is the business process. So the star fields are mandatory ones, guys. The star fields are mandatory. So if you want to create a function, the first thing you need to create the function ID, and you need to add the business process and the analysis scope. So analysis scope, see, analysis scope you have different options, single system or cross system. What is single system and what is cross system? Tell me. You can easily guess that. APO, it's a single system, guys. If you are creating the function for APO, it's a single system. So this function should be valid only to that single system. For example, if you are performing for R3 or any other things, it may be cross system, like for some transactions like SU01. Okay, SU01 is present in APO, BW, R3, and so many modules. It's present in so many different SAP modules. So for that kind of functions, if you're creating function for that reason, then you can select it as cross system. If you select this cross system, it will be valid for all the system. You don't need to create functions for each and every system again and again. Okay, so you need to select that either single system or cross system, and just give description as easy as you can. Okay, as understandable as you can. Like here it is, see, if you see that function description, you can really say, okay, this is for APO supply and demand planning. It should be like that. Description should be as simple as you can give. So here action and permission. Once after you have filled in all these details, you need to select actions in the action tab and permissions in the permission tab. So action is nothing but transaction. So to add action to action tab, you need to click on add button. We'll see that how will we create a function and all. We'll see that. Here you will add transactions and you need to maintain the status as active. When you are creating any, when you are adding any transaction or when you are adding any action, you need to maintain the status as active. And I'm going to the permissions. If I go to permission, here you can see for this transaction, if you click on, once you add the action and if you click on permission, these objects will come automatically, the permission objects. Okay, you no need to add them manually. This will come populated automatically with the values that are present in SU24. It will just check the values in SU24 and it will be, those values will be populated here. Okay, here you can maintain condition type, 2 types of condition types. So sorry, 3 types. And or not. And or not is nothing but this function, when you are performing the risk analysis for this function and any other function. Okay, you will be performing risk analysis with 2 functions, but the single function you cannot do it. Okay, for only critical functions and critical transactions only we'll do risk analysis with single function. But normal things, normal risk analysis, we have to have 2 functions, at least 2 functions. We have to compare these 2 values. So when you are maintaining the conditions, we have 3 types of conditions. The first one is end condition, or condition, and not condition. What is end, what is or, and what is not? What is end, what is or, what is not? Nothing but, for example, in SU01 and PFCC, we have common authorization object, guys. S_user_grp is there in SU01 and S_user_grp is there in PFCC. So for these common authorization objects, you can maintain condition or, because either it can check in this function or it can check in that function. And there are some critical authorization objects in both of the transactions. Like for SU01, the critical authorization object is s_user_grp. When it comes to PFCZ, the critical authorization object is s_user_agr. So for them, you need to select end. So that risk should check this one and that one. If user is having access to these two, that should be a error. I mean, that should be a risk. There should be a risk. So if you feel the values are not that important, then you can maintain it as not. Like for example, there are some authorization objects s_address. For address, it is really not important, right? So for that you can maintain it as not. No, it's really not important to check. So you can maintain it as not. So in the permission, this condition is important, guys. You have to decide whether this particular, when you're creating any function, whether this particular value should be checked with the other function or not. Any questions? The more transactions you add in function, the more criticality you will see. So I would suggest for every single transaction, you can create function, but if you add more transactions in one function, you'll feel more difficulty to maintain these values.
Krishna, I have a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
As you told, risk is a combination of two functions, correct?
Yes.
So risk will the study risk will be decided based on the two functions. So within function, if any risk exists or not, how does this end or these things significance of this? I'm really not getting, because see, one function will be containing SU01 and another function will be containing PFCZ. So this SU01 wala function will contain SUser group, and there it will contain SUser AGR. So those two functions will collectively create a risk. But if how come these two objects will be there in the same function, and how the risk? I don't have it. I'm not getting.
This will not be there in the same function. That's what you have to understand first. These two transactions will not add in the same function. That is what I'm telling at the end. The first thing, if you feel these two transactions are really critical, create two functions. Okay, the first one with SU01 and the second one with PFCG. Okay, I'm explaining it again, just listen it clearly. The first one with SU01 and the second one with PFCG. So I'll just open a Word document. Ganesh, I will just take the control, okay? I will share my screen. So, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. See here, function 1 and function 2. Okay, when you're if you feel SU01 and PFCZ combination should give a risk in the system, then create two functions. The first one with SU01 and the second one with PFCZ. So in SU01, you need to identify which is a critical authorization object. So that is s_user_grp. When it comes to PFCZ, the critical authorization object is s_user_agr, right? These are the two authorization objects. For example, this is all example, guys. This is not in real time. You will not maintain like this. This is just an example. So in SU01, s_user_grp is the authorization object. When it comes to PFCZ, s_user_agr. Okay. If you feel like really only these two authorization objects are critical and other objects are, it's okay. I mean, if any user is having other objects with other functions, other actions, like s_user_grp will present in SUIM as well as SU01D as well as it will be there in other transactions also, but you are creating functions only with these two transactions because these two transactions are critical ones. With this you will be you can do create and modify in the system, and you will feel this is a real risk. This is a real risk in the system. So that's why you are creating these functions. So first function with SU01, second function with PFCG with authorization object S underscore user underscore GRP, S underscore user underscore AGR. So when you are creating a function here, okay, when you are creating a function, you just add SU01 in function, and if you go to permissions, the relative authorization objects for this function will be populated there, like all the authorization objects which are in check condition S from SU24, with including the values, it will come there. Okay, and you need to decide whether when checking the risk analysis, okay, when combining the risk and when checking the risk analysis with PFCG, whether this authorization object is really required or not. Is there any risk if user is having this authorization object? Because that authorization object will be there with so many other transactions. So if you apply, if you apply settings like the status for authorization objects and value, what will happen? Like if you select end value, in that particular function there will be so many authorization objects, right? If you apply end value, it will check this authorization object and this authorization object combination will be checked in with other function. Getting again?
Yes. Now I got it. Like if there are multiple number of objects, then if we need to check all those objects with S underscore user, suppose S underscore user underscore AGR. So
Perfect.
there we
Perfect.
put the end I got it.
Perfect. So see, if S underscore user underscore GRP is there in SU01, that is also there in PFCG. So if you maintain OR condition, what will check? It will really not check there in that. If you put end condition only, every authorization object will be checked with the other authorization objects and the risk will be populated there.
Okay, got it.
Is it really clear for you? Because this is really important in real time.
Yeah, I got it clear. It is clear for me.
Okay, for Bhaskar and Ganesh.
Yeah, it's clear.
Ganesh and Malini.
Yes, I'm fine with it.
See, if you feel it confusing or if you are unable to understand it, okay, you have to ask me like again. If you don't stop me, I'll feel okay, everything is clear and I'll move ahead. And once the classes are completed, I am not sure I'll be available, okay? I'm just joking here, I'll be available always. Okay, then again, Ganesh, can you just share your screen? I'll explain this again because I have a doubt that someone is not understanding it. They're just saying yes, I understand. Okay, can you go to that screen again? Yes. So here, guys, I have permission. No, give me permission, sir. Okay. See here, what I was telling to again is like, see here we have three types of conditions, and, or, and not. If you maintain this end condition for each and every authorization object, okay, what will happen? Like first, this authorization object will be this authorization object, and the other function is there, right? In that all authorization objects will be compared, and next it will check this condition. Okay, it is or so it's not that important, so it will not check. So it will go to the next object. If the next object is in end condition, again that authorization object will be compared to all the other authorization object in that particular transaction. So like that it will happen. If you maintain end condition, each and every authorization objects will be checked, compared. If you maintain OR condition, some values can be ignored. That means this is not that important because here 06, if you can see, the same authorization object is same, guys. C underscore APO underscore PB, C underscore APO underscore PB. If you see the activity, here it is 01 and 06. 01 is very important. 01 and 02. Okay, value from value 2. 01 to 02, which is very important. So he can create and change. But 06, this is not important, guys. 06 is something like what is for 06? I really don't know, but 06 is not that important. So that's why we have maintained it as R. For example, here if you can see s underscore user underscore grp. For s underscore user underscore grp, you will be having different activity list. Okay, in that activity you can see 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06 and all. But 03 is that important? No, 03 is not that important because it's just a display one, so you can maintain R there. But 01, 02, yeah, which is very important. So this user should not have 01, 02 object. In that case, you can maintain end condition. Like in s underscore user underscore grp 0102 and s underscore user underscore azr 0102, it should give a violation. S underscore user underscore azr 0102, which is present in the other function, s underscore user underscore grp present in this function. So when we are comparing these two functions, the end condition values will be checked. Okay, if here 0102, there 0102, if it is there, then it should give a violation. Getting it or got it?
So, sir, this is
Yeah,
we are creating for a transaction, right? Basically SU01 and PFCG. Right?
Yes.
Are for the users who are having access to this.
Yes, correct. No, are for the not for the users actually, Ganesh.
Okay, this is
We
for
are creating the functions first. Okay, we are creating the functions. These functions will be added to risk rule. Then risk rule will be added to rule book. So for all the users, will run the risk violation for rule book. So whatever rules that are present in the rule book, okay, it will be applicable for those users. It will check with the user accounts whether that user is having any violations with this rule book or not. If there are any violations like this, for example, here we have created this rule, right? User should not have access to 0102 s underscore user underscore grp, s underscore user underscore agr 0102. He should not have access to these two authorization object, these two field values.
Yes.
So if any user is having this access in real time, then it will give a violation.
Okay. Okay, but not at the function level. So this is the primary step we are doing to get to that stage. One of the primary.
Yeah,
steps.
this is the primary step, but this is the important one.
Okay. Okay.
All the things will be checked here only. Those are just dummy ones. This is the important one we have to set up in the system. Like in R3, fields and values are the important ones. The authorization object, transaction, program, all are dummy values. Like the same way here, rule book, rule set, and all are dummy values. Only functions are the important ones, where you actually maintain the risks. Okay, guys. Moving ahead. So the status, okay, if you want to check this value, okay, for particular value, this is a transaction, this is the authorization object, you have maintained end condition. If you maintain the status active, then only it will be checked. Otherwise, it will not be checked. So for some authorization objects, we can maintain inactive also, because those, if you feel that authorization object is really not critical, then you can maintain it as inactive status. Okay, but whatever values are in active status, that will be checked. So this is change history. So if you go to change history, you can see all the where is that? Okay, this is a standard one, so that's why you'll not be able to see anything. But if you check the customized ones, you can see the change history, who has created it, when they have created everything, you can check that. What is the new value and what is the old value that these guys has updated and all. So I'll go to this thing, customized one, then I'll show you. So now you guys know how to create a function. Noah?
No, we know how to create a function. I have a doubt over here that time to time, SAP releases patches. Means does SAP upgrade that these functions as well?
Functions? Yes, it will do. What it will do, like, see, when you are when they have upgraded the GRC packages. I mean, for example, in the backend, they will be upgrading some support packages in R3 systems. So time to time, they will get some new transactions will be added to system. So if they feel that particular transaction is very critical and should have this kind of access, then they will implement a node, and that node will be given to all clients, GRC clients. We need to just update that SAP node in GRC backend system, ABAP system, by using S-node transaction. That's it. That then immediately the rule book will be updated. We just need to generate the SOD rules. Yeah, that process is there. Like whenever any backend system is upgraded from one version to another version, there will be some new transactions updated in the system. So for those transactions, if SAP feels those are critical and risk rule should be written on that, then they will release some SAP nodes, GRC nodes. So that particular S nodes we just need to implement in the system. We no need to come here and maintain manually. Okay, it's really not required. It's completely automated when you just need to implement the S nodes.
Yes. Okay.
Very good question. Yeah, that will happen. Yes. Okay, guys. So I will just will create one function now. So to create the function, you just need to come here and click on create button. So as I told you, once you click on create button, guys, where is the screen? It's not coming. Or it came already. Yeah, here it is. Sorry. So to create the function, the first thing you need to give the function ID. For example, if I am creating one customizing function, better start with Z. Okay, 2 characters. Like for security, I'm creating it. I'm giving it ZS. And if this is a start one, so 01. In business process, I will see whether security is already created or not. If security is not created, where you normally create the business process, guys? If you want to create a new business process, someone has told something.
Yeah, security business process.
Yeah, it is there, but if it is not there, then where you will go and create it?
BC set.
Sorry?
BC set we need to create.
SPRO 20.
No, this is business process. This is business process. This is not BC set. Guys, I told you when we are performing the
It's SPRO 20, right?
configurations. No, not SPRO 20. SCPR 20 is for BC sets. It is in, if you go to GRC folder in SPRO, there is an access control folder. Under that, create business process button is there. Maintain business processes and sub processes. Maintain business process and sub processes. There normally will create the business processes. Okay. So that's why you should practice here. This is for Jagyan. Jagyan, you are not there in the last class, right? So I'm just executing that, okay? We can create it from here. SPRO, SAP reference IMG. So from here, I'll go to GRC folder. What's happening? Okay. Where is that folder? Here you have this access control folder, right? So in access control, you can see here, maintain business process and sub processes. From here, we'll create the business process and sub processes. So this is what you can see, only descriptions there, right? Security business process. I have selected it now. You can see only descriptions, guys. Okay, you can't see the technical names there. You can see only business process descriptions. So if you want to create a new one, you have to create it from here. Remember this one. So give it the security business process, select the business process and give the analysis scope and give a good description like I'm creating this for SU01. So give a good description like ZSU01, ZS01. Okay. Function for user administration. Give like that, okay? And if you want to add the first, you need to add the action. Click on add. Here, select the system first. In which system you want to update this function. Okay, if that is RFC, that is a R3 system. Select the system. Because it will go to that particular system, the request will go to that particular system and it will check what kind of permissions are mapped to this particular action in SU24 and the permissions will be fetched automatically. So you need to select the system, okay? So here give SU01 and if you click on enter, description should come, okay? Description is there, user maintenance, and it should be in activated status. Once you have added the transaction here, okay, go to permissions. Just click on permission. So now if you can see here, everything is updated automatically. From that EC50001800 system, it collected all the data of SU01 and the status, if you can see, everything is inactivated and all the conditions are updated as end. So here you will have a lot of work, guys. What normally you will think what GRC consultant will do. So GRC consultants will do all these things. Okay, for all customizing transactions, they need to create this manually. Of course, they have another option, they can upload it. Okay, they can create mass functions also. But first you learn this, how to create it manually. Okay, so here, the first thing you need to define which authorization objects are critical for this particular transaction. Address which is not critical, so it can be inactivated status, address 1, address 2. These all are, different fields and different values for the same authorization object, so it can be inactivated because address is not that important. And function is also not that important. But the important authorization object is s_user_grp in my case. But for your organization, it might be different. But what I feel is s_user_grp is the critical one for SU01. If user don't have s_user_grp, he will not be able to do any activity in SU01. Even if he's having s_user_agr, s_user_profile also, if s_user_grp is not there, it will directly shoot an error. You are not authorized to use this transaction. So that's why I feel s_user_grp is the most important one. So here, guys, if you can see s_user_grp, which is having 01, 02, 03, 05, 06, 08 activity values. Okay, but I feel 01, 02, 03, 01, 02 and 78, 24. These are the only important ones. The remaining 05 is to reset the password, yeah, or lock unlock.
Delete, I think.
05 is to delete, then it is also important. So 01, 02, 05, 06 and 24, 28, 78. 24 is to assign. 78 is assign. 24 is what?
Maintain.
Okay. So these values are important. So if you feel these values are important, maintain end condition for that. For example, 03, it can be checked, but it's not that important. If you feel 03 is not that important, then you can just select OR here. Okay, and if you feel 08 is not at all important, you don't want it to be checked, then you can maintain it as not. Then this will not be checked. Okay, so these values, guys, no one will suggest you in real time. You have to study a lot to understand what is the actual use of this activity values and this authorization object, and you have to decide and you have to define. For security ones, yes, you have to do that. But for functional ones, guys, you can just guide the functional consultant. Boss, this is the authorization object, this is the value for this particular transaction. I really don't know what is the use of this authorization object, because for every authorization object we have a description. security consultant will not be 100% sure on functional objects. So you can ask them. They will help you in that case. But these all things, guys, you will perform when you are developing GRC for the first time. From the next time, there will be some small modifications in the rule books, but you will not really create new functions. If they have created a new transaction which is very critical, then only will create the functions. Otherwise, very rare cases. But you have to know how you can create the function in the system. Okay, this is where you have to decide which authorization object should be in end condition, which authorization object should be in OR condition. So when you are creating a function, as I told you, first you need to compare with the other transaction, and you need to compare both the authorization objects. With this function, which authorization object should be compared, and with that other function, which authorization object should be compared. You need to decide, then create the function in the system. Don't do practicals directly in the system, okay? Any doubts here? And if for whatever values you are updating the conditions, immediately activate the status. Spending more time here only. Okay, any doubts, guys? I'm just closing it. I'm not creating it. You have to practice that, okay? Practice it. If in case you find any difficult, ask me in the next class. That means tomorrow. You have to practice today. Create, for me, everyone should create 2 functions at least. I will definitely ask you tomorrow. And you need to explain me why you have maintained the conditions also. Which is very important, guys. Functions are important. You feel it is very easy, but it is not that easy, guys. If you do some mistake at function level, that's it, gone. Okay, yep. So that is how normally we'll create the functions. So we'll see one more step now. Once you have created the functions, okay, I will close this window. This is not the correct window. The next step, what is the next step? We need to add these functions to a risk rule. So once you add the risk rule, once you add these functions in a risk rule, then only, I mean, it's like, okay, these 2 functions, if any user is having these 2 function combination, that should be a risk. System will get to know that. So now we'll see that. Still we have 4 minutes time, right? Okay. So the next one, guys, access risks. Okay, just click on access risks. You need to create the access risks. So create access risks. If you want to create a new access risk, so here you can see the risk ID. The risk IDs are also same format, guys. Okay, whatever functions they are creating, it is on the same format, like A001, A002, 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 A003. Because if they are repeated, why? A001 is a risk ID which is having 2 function IDs. That is A001, sorry, AO01, AO02. These 2 functions are added to one risk ID, that is A001. Hope you are getting it now. So normally we'll add functions to risk IDs. Risk ID or risk rules, both are same. Don't get confused. Okay, so like the same, if you can see this A002, this A002 risk level is high. It is containing 2 functions, AO01, AO03, and like the same way AO03, this is also having a high risk level, so which is having AO01 and AO04 functions. So this is what you can add a number of functions to a risk ID, as many as you want. You can add those many functions to a risk ID. If you feel, for example, SU01, PFCZ, and ST01, these 3 transactions should not be present to a single user, then you can need to create 3 functions, and these 3 functions you can add in a single risk ID. You can do that. or otherwise you can create two risk IDs separately, and these two risk IDs can be added to your rule book. That is also you can do. Then it will check separately, then it will give separate risks. But if you want a single risk to be present in your risk result, so better create 3 functions and add 3 functions to one risk rule.
See, here I can see that risk type is at permission level, right? Segregation of duties.
Yep, sorry.
Here I can see that the risk type,
Yeah.
segregation of duties, which is
Yes.
at permission level, right?
Yes, correct.
And we can add similarly for critical action and critical permission as well. The risk
Yes,
IDs.
that's what. I will just click on create button, then we'll see what kind of risk type you can select there. Good, yeah, you have to observe everything in this screen. That is what I'm just telling all these things, but I forgot to tell you risk type. But once we click on this create button, anyways, we'll see that. Yes, good. So here, guys, if you want to create a risk, you need to click on this create button. Here also you have two options, details and change history. So in the details, give the risk ID as 4 digits, as you can see there. The same name you can give, like ZS01. Hey, what happened? Server manager. So something happened. Okay. Fine. So here ZS01 and risk type. Arey. You have any idea why is this coming? Here you need to select the risk type. Hope your doubt is clear now, Bhaskar. So risk type, we have 3 types of risk, guys. Either aggregation of duties, critical action, or critical permission.
Yes. Actually, that in 5.3, the segregation of duties is called at permission level.
Yeah, that's what.
Now,
I mean, we don't have that.
Yeah,
in,
we don't have that.
Yeah, we have it here. So we have
Actually,
risk types. Yeah.
That was more confusing. Now it's very clear.
Really, yeah. That was really confusing me. When I faced a lot of issues when we are creating this risk rules. It was not properly adding. When we add it also, sometimes it is not checking. I don't know what's the reason. But here, if you add it, everything will work fine. I mean, I have not found any issues here. Okay, so risk types you have to select, guys. We have 3 types of risks here. So either you can do it for segregation of duties, or critical action, or critical permission. So critical action and critical permission we have already discussed. Critical action and critical permission are nothing but if you feel one transaction is very critical, you want to perform risk analysis for that particular transaction. We are not creating any functions, guys. We are performing it directly to the transaction. So in that case, function is nothing but, guys, in the function it will check the authorization object and values also. But if you maintain the risk type as critical action, it will not check the authorization objects and all. If any user is having access to that particular transaction, at that point it will highlight like, okay, this user is having critical action. That's it. It will not go and check the authorization objects for action level. But if you select critical permission, it will not check the transaction, guys. It will not check the transaction. It will check for the authorization objects. For example, if any user is having s_develop authorization object in the system, you feel like s_develop is very critical, and if any user is having access to this particular authorization object, it should pop up like this user, so and so user is having access to s_develop, which is a risk in the system. So in that case, you can create directly a critical permission. But if you feel there should be a risk if user is having access to these 2 transactions combinedly. Combination of 2 transactions, combination of 2 authorization objects, combination of 2 permissions, or combination of 2 actions. In that case, you create the risk type as aggregation of duties. Getting it? Bhaskar and Ganesh, Jagyan,
Yes.
Malini.
Yes,
Huh.
yes.
Okay. Jagyan, it's clear for you, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So select the business process. Select the business process. Whatever you want to select, you can select that. For example, we are creating it for security. So select the security business process. And description you have to give. So give a description like combination. Hey, where is this here? It gone somewhere. There's something happening. I don't know. Ganesh,
Hello.
is there any virus? Is there any virus or what? I'm unable to do anything. Can you take control and do it? Write combination of SU01 and POCC. Okay, we're running out of time. It's already 4:04.
No,
We'll do
no.
one thing, guys.
Yeah.
We'll just pass it here. So we'll do it tomorrow, the remaining things. We'll just finish the first risk analysis and we'll complete the emergency access management also tomorrow. Is it fine? So I'll be asking about the functions tomorrow. You have to create 2 functions and you create a rule set also. I just told you how to create it. It's very easy. Go there and see the options. If you find any difficulty, just hold on. I'll explain you tomorrow. Otherwise, just create the risk ID also with these 2 transactions. And I'll ask you why you kept end or not conditions there. You have to tell me. Please practice, guys. This is some important things. You have to practice it. Because most of the guys who are working in GRC, they'll not get these options. I mean, they'll not really practice on these things. They'll not be having knowledge on this. So better having knowledge on this, it will help you. Let me know if you don't understand anything. I'm there. I'll help you out. Okay. Thank you. See you tomorrow at the same time, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
Please be present at the same time. Okay. Join at 2 o'clock. Don't be late. Bye bye.